Life is not waiting for us somewhere in the future. It is happening right now in this very moment. Too often we postpone our happiness, convincing ourselves that joy will come after the next achievement, after the next milestone, after the next promotion, or after the struggles ease. But what if happiness is not hidden in the future? What if it is already here, quietly waiting for us to notice it? To enjoy every minute of life, we must learn to shift our perception, to honor the present moment as the only true reality we will ever hold. Let us explore 6 guiding principles that can help us embrace this truth and begin to live fully, joyfully now. We live in a world where our attention is constantly being pulled in 1,000 directions. Notifications light up our screens, deadlines crowd our calendars, and worries occupy our minds before we even rise from bed. We have become so used to rushing toward the future or replaying the past that we forget the simplest truth. Life is never happening anywhere else but here, in this very moment. Presence is the purest form of power, for it allows us to step out of the endless storm of distractions and return to the essence of being alive. Consider the way children play in a park. They run, they laugh, they fall, they get up, and they keep going. Not once do they stop to think about the bills that must be paid or the mistakes that happened yesterday. They are completely absorbed in the act of living, fully surrendered to the now. That is why their joy feels so radiant, so contagious. It is because they are unburdened by the heavy cloak of time. They are not waiting for life to begin. They are already in it. Most adults lose this ability. We eat our meals while scrolling through a phone. We walk down the street lost in thought. We sit with family, but secretly wrestle with tomorrow's problems. The present becomes something we pass through without noticing, as though it were merely a hallway leading to the real destination somewhere in the future. But the truth is unsettling. There is no future waiting for us, not in the way we imagine. There is only this eternal now, unfolding moment by moment. To reclaim this awareness, we must first slow down. When you eat, do not simply consume food, taste it. Notice the texture, the flavors, the miracle that such nourishment even exists. When you walk, do not treat it as a task to get from one place to another. Feel the breeze against your skin. Listen to the rhythm of your steps. Observe the colors of the world around you. Even the simplest act, when done with presence, becomes profound. A sip of water, taken with awareness, can feel more satisfying than a grand feast eaten in distraction. Scientific research supports this ancient wisdom. Studies on mindfulness consistently show that individuals who train their minds to rest in the present report higher levels of satisfaction, less anxiety, and a deeper sense of fulfillment. Their external circumstances do not necessarily change. They still face challenges, responsibilities, and uncertainty, but the way they inhabit their lives shifts dramatically. They are no longer prisoners of past regrets or hostages of future fears. They become participants in life rather than spectators trapped inside their own restless thoughts. There is also a deep psychological truth here. The more we resist the present moment, the more powerless we feel. When we replay the past, we are wrestling with something already finished. When we project into the future, we are trying to control something that has not yet come. Neither offers real power. Power lies only in what can be touched, breathed, and experienced now. That is why presence brings not only joy, but also strength, clarity, and freedom. Think of someone who has faced a life-threatening illness. Many of these individuals later describe how even the smallest moments became luminous. The sunlight streaming through a window, the sound of birds at dawn, the voice of a loved one on the phone. Why? because when the illusion of endless time collapses, the present moment shines in its true brilliance. Do we really need to wait for crisis or loss to awaken us to this truth? Or can we choose now to see what has always been there? Living in presence does not mean ignoring responsibilities or pretending problems do not exist. It means meeting those responsibilities from a place of grounded awareness rather than frantic disconnection. It means facing challenges with the calm strength that arises when you are rooted in the moment, not scattered across past and future. Even in the busiest day, you can pause to breathe, to notice, to return to yourself. That pause, that awareness, changes everything. Presence is power because it gives us back our lives. It strips away the noise, the illusions, the endless race toward a future that never arrives. It opens our eyes to the truth that joy is not waiting somewhere else. It is already here, quietly woven into the fabric of every ordinary moment. And the question we must ask ourselves is simple: will we keep rushing past it, or will we finally allow ourselves to live? Gratitude is often mistaken for a polite word, a quick thank you, murmured when someone hands us a gift or offers us kindness. But gratitude, in its deepest sense, is not a phrase. It is a way of seeing the world. It is a lens through which ordinary moments are revealed as extraordinary. Every breath drawn into our lungs, every sip of water that cools our thirst, every sunrise that paints the horizon in gold. These are treasures, yet we pass them by as if they were guaranteed. They are not. For billions, such moments never come again. And for each of us, one day they will cease. Gratitude is what awakens us to their fragile brilliance before it is too late. Consider the story of a man who survived a near-fatal accident. After his recovery, he described how the simplest things had become almost unbearably beautiful. The taste of a single apple, something he had eaten countless times before without notice, became the sweetest thing he had ever known. What changed? Not the apple. What changed was his awareness. His brush with mortality sharpened his vision, stripping away the dull film of indifference that covers our eyes in daily life. The tragedy revealed what was always true, that life is a gift, and every small detail of it is worthy of reverence. The question is, do we need tragedy to wake us from our sleep? Must we wait for loss before we learn to see? Gratitude offers another path. It allows us to experience joy without crisis. It is a discipline, a daily practice, a quiet reorientation of the heart. When we choose gratitude, we train ourselves to notice what is already here, rather than what is missing. Psychologists have found that people who keep gratitude journals, simply writing down 3 things they are thankful for each day, report higher levels of happiness, better sleep, and stronger relationships. The act is simple, yet its effect is profound. It teaches the mind to bend toward blessings rather than burdens. But beyond the studies and the research, gratitude has a spiritual weight. It connects us to something greater than ourselves, a recognition that life does not owe us these gifts, yet they arrive anyway. The warmth of sunlight on skin, the laughter of a child, the steady rhythm of a heartbeat. These are not possessions we have earned, but miracles that surround us daily. To live without gratitude is to live blind, stumbling through abundance while believing we are poor. To live with gratitude is to awaken in the same world, yet see it anew, luminous and alive. Think of how easily we take for granted what others are desperate for. Someone somewhere prays for the food you push aside because you are bored of its taste. Someone else longs for the health you dismiss because you are tired of the day. Even the ability to hear the sound of rain or to stand upright on your own legs is denied to countless others. Gratitude shifts us from complaint to wonder. It reveals that what we call ordinary is in truth extraordinary. And gratitude does not only transform how we see the world, it transforms how we relate to others. When we express sincere appreciation, we create bonds of warmth and trust. A simple acknowledgement, "I value you, I see what you do, I am thankful," can heal wounds that anger could never mend. In relationships, gratitude is the glue that keeps love alive, reminding us not to take for granted the presence of those we hold dear. Yet practicing gratitude does not mean denying hardship. Life is not without its pain, its losses, its struggles. But gratitude does not require us to pretend suffering does not exist. It invites us to see that even in difficulty, there is something to hold on to. In grief, gratitude may be the memory of love shared. In struggle, it may be the resilience we discover within ourselves. Gratitude does not erase darkness, but it provides light enough to walk through it. The real challenge is not finding reasons to be grateful when life is easy, but choosing gratitude when life feels heavy. That choice is what gives gratitude its transformative power. Anyone can be thankful when the sun is shining, but to whisper thanks even in the storm, that is the moment gratitude reveals its strength. So let us not wait until life shakes us awake with tragedy. Let us not need the silence of loss to hear the music of presence. Gratitude is available now in every breath, every glance, every heartbeat. Begin with something small. Tonight, write down 3 things that blessed you today. They may seem trivial at first. A kind word, the smell of coffee, the comfort of a bed. But over time, your eyes will sharpen, your heart will soften, and you will see what was always true, that you are surrounded by gifts, countless and undeserved. And once you see it, life will never again appear ordinary. It will be transformed into something radiant, something worth savoring, something to be grateful for in every passing moment. We live much of our lives in waiting for the perfect moment, the perfect condition, the perfect achievement that will finally unlock happiness. We convince ourselves that joy is always just around the corner. I'll be happy when I lose the weight, when I get that job, when I move into that new house, when I achieve the dream I've been chasing. Yet with every new milestone reached, the horizon of happiness shifts again, always just out of reach, always belonging to a future that never quite arrives. What we do not realize is that this endless postponement is not a delay of joy, it is its denial. Think of how many people, at the end of their lives, confess a similar regret. They speak of how they chased goals, accumulated possessions, fulfilled responsibilities, yet somehow missed the most essential part of living. They missed the laughter of their children echoing in the house, the glow of sunsets outside their windows, the warmth of their partner's hand resting in their own. These were moments when life itself was speaking to them, offering happiness without condition, yet they were too busy looking elsewhere to notice. When the curtain begins to close, it is not the medals, the promotions, or the trophies people grieve. It is the time they did not allow themselves to simply be alive. There is a cruel illusion woven into modern life that tells us happiness is a reward, something to be earned after years of effort and sacrifice. But happiness is not at the end of the road, it is the way you walk upon it. Imagine a traveler on a beautiful path, lined with trees, flowers, and streams, yet with eyes fixed only on a distant mountaintop. He trudges forward, blind to the beauty around him, believing joy will finally be his when he reaches the summit. If he never lifts his gaze, he will miss the fact that he was already surrounded by what he was seeking. We all live like this traveler at times. We tell ourselves that when we reach a certain goal, then we will allow ourselves to rest, to laugh, to feel free. Yet the present moment slips away while we are bargaining with the future. The truth is that life does not wait for us to be ready. It is happening now, breath by breath, heartbeat by heartbeat, and the longer we postpone happiness, the more of it we lose forever. This does not mean we should abandon our goals or stop striving for growth. Dreams give shape to our lives, and ambition fuels creation. But when the pursuit of tomorrow blinds us to the gift of today, then even our greatest accomplishments become hollow. What use is success if it robs us of the ability to delight in the very moment success was meant to enhance? A parent may work tirelessly to provide a better future for their children, but if they neglect to sit and listen to those children's stories today, they may find that the future they built feels strangely empty. To stop postponing happiness requires courage. It requires us to challenge the voices that whisper, "Not yet, not until, not enough." It requires us to claim the radical truth that happiness is available even in imperfection, even in incompleteness. You may not have reached the weight you want, the income you dream of, or the place you long to be. And yet, you can still find joy in the laughter of a friend, in the taste of warm food, in the quiet of the evening. Happiness is not the absence of struggle. It is the choice to notice beauty in the midst of it. There is a story of a farmer who worked from dawn until night, always planning for the future harvest. He told himself that one day, when his barns were full, he would finally sit and rest under the shade of his tree. But by the time the barns were filled, his body was weary, and the strength to rest never came. He had postponed joy until it slipped beyond his grasp. The shade of the tree was always there, but he never allowed himself to sit beneath it. How many of us live like that farmer, promising ourselves a joy we never permit ourselves to taste? Every day holds within it moments of happiness, but they will pass unnoticed unless we learn to see them. The smile of a stranger, the feeling of sunlight on skin, the comfort of someone who cares. These are not insignificant details. They are the essence of what we are seeking. To stop postponing happiness is to finally open our eyes to them, to let them matter more than our endless race toward what is next. The truth is, the time to be happy is not someday. It is not waiting in a distant tomorrow that may never come. It is here in this breath, in this step, in this fragile and fleeting now. And the more we claim it, the more we realize that happiness was never a destination to arrive at. It was the path we were meant to walk all along. From the moment we are born, we are surrounded by the message that life must be perfect. We are told to pursue flawless careers, flawless homes, flawless bodies, flawless relationships. Every advertisement, every glossy image, every whispered comparison feeds the idea that anything less than perfection is failure. Yet the longer we chase this illusion, the more miserable we become, because perfection is not real, it is a mirage. Real joy, real connection, and real peace only arrive when we dare to embrace imperfection, both in ourselves and in the world around us. Consider how we respond to our flaws. A small mistake can feel like a heavy weight, a scar can feel like shame, and a failure can feel like proof of unworthiness. But what if we shifted the way we see these cracks in our lives? The Japanese art of kintsugi offers us a profound metaphor. When pottery breaks, it is not thrown away. Instead, it is repaired with lacquer mixed with powdered gold. The broken lines do not vanish, they become more visible, more luminous. The piece, once broken, becomes even more valuable. The damage is not erased, it is honored. In this way, imperfection becomes beauty, not something to be hidden, but something to be cherished. The same is true of our lives. Our scars tell stories. Our failures teach wisdom. Our flaws remind us of our humanity. The person who has never stumbled, never struggled, never been broken, may appear untouched. But they also lack the depth and richness that only experience can carve into the soul. Think of the most inspiring people you know. Are they the ones who lived flawless, untouched lives? Or are they the ones who faced hardship, made mistakes, endured loss, and emerged with compassion and strength? It is always the latter. Imperfection is not the opposite of beauty, it is the doorway to authenticity. When we stop demanding perfection from ourselves, we release an enormous burden. We no longer need to wear masks to appear strong, polished, or untouchable. We can show up as we are, sometimes messy, sometimes uncertain, sometimes wounded, and still worthy of love and belonging. This is freedom. And when we stop demanding perfection from others, our relationships change too. We no longer expect our partners to meet impossible standards, our friends to never disappoint us, or our children to fulfill every dream we hold for them. We allow them to be human, and in doing so, we open space for genuine connection. So much unhappiness comes from comparison. We measure our imperfect lives against the curated images of others, forgetting that what we see is never the whole truth. Behind every seemingly perfect picture lies struggle, doubt, and pain that no camera captures. When we embrace imperfection, we stop comparing our behind the scenes to someone else's highlight reel. We understand that being human means being incomplete, and that is not something to be ashamed of. Even nature reminds us that perfection is a false ideal. A tree does not grow in a straight line. It bends with the wind, it breaks and heals, it carries knots and scars in its bark. Yet it is precisely these imperfections that make the tree strong and unique. A mountain is not smooth but jagged, carved by storms and time, and yet its majesty comes from those very marks. If all of nature thrives in imperfection, why do we demand perfection of ourselves? There is also a quiet relief in accepting that life itself will never be perfect. Circumstances shift, plans fall apart, outcomes surprise us. To resist this unpredictability is to fight reality itself. But when we accept the crooked path, when we trust that mistakes and detours are part of the journey, we discover joy even in the unexpected. Many of the best stories in our lives are not the ones we planned, but the ones that emerged when things didn't go according to plan. To embrace imperfection is not to settle for less, but to see clearly. It is to recognize that our cracks and scars are not evidence of weakness, but evidence of life lived deeply. It is to know that the love we crave is not found in presenting a flawless image, but in revealing our authentic selves and allowing others to love us as we are. And it is to understand that happiness is not postponed until we become perfect. It blooms precisely when we stop trying to be. If you can allow yourself to be imperfect, you open the door to true peace. You can laugh at mistakes, forgive yourself more easily, and forgive others more readily. You can look at your scars, not as marks of shame, but as golden threads in the tapestry of your story. And perhaps most importantly, you can finally rest, because perfection was never the point. Being alive in all its messy, broken, beautiful imperfection, that is where joy truly lives. We are often taught to measure wealth in numbers, bank balances, properties, possessions, achievements that can be displayed for the world to see. Yet beneath all the noise of success and accumulation lies a quieter truth. The deepest form of wealth is found not in things, but in relationships. Happiness rarely thrives in isolation. It blossoms in the soil of connection. Family, friends, love, community, shared laughter, and even the simple presence of someone who cares enough to sit beside us in silence. There is a study, one of the longest in human history, carried out at Harvard over more than 75 years. Generations were followed, their lives examined, their choices measured, their joys and sorrows observed. The conclusion was striking. It was not wealth or fame or professional achievement that determined happiness. It was the quality of their relationships. Those who nurtured warm bonds, who invested in love and friendship, lived longer, healthier, and more fulfilled lives. Those who neglected connection often found themselves lonely, even if surrounded by abundance. This is not merely a lesson in science. It is a reminder of what our hearts already know, but too easily forget. That people matter more than possessions. Think of the times in your own life when you felt most alive. Chances are, they were not moments spent alone counting your money or staring at a trophy. They were moments when laughter filled the air, when a friend stood by you in difficulty, when a parent's embrace offered comfort, or when you held the hand of someone you loved and realized that no material possession could equal the warmth of that touch. These are the treasures that no economy can measure, yet they are the currency of true wealth. And yet, in the modern age, how easily we neglect this truth. We are more connected digitally than at any point in history, yet loneliness is called the epidemic of our time. We scroll endlessly through screens, mistaking digital fragments for intimacy. While the person sitting beside us waits for our full attention, we say we have no time for conversation, no energy for visits, no patience for the small rituals of human closeness. Yet we have time to chase one more email, one more deal, one more empty task. In the pursuit of more, we forget the simple act of being with one another, of listening, of sharing presence without agenda. Relationships require attention. They do not grow by accident. Just as plants wither without water, connections wither without care. To truly value people, we must spend time with them. We must choose to be present when they speak, to listen not just with ears but with heart. We must laugh more often with those who bring us joy, and we must forgive more easily when inevitable imperfections appear. Life is too short to hold grudges that starve connection, too precious to spend in silent distance from those who matter most. There will come a day when the curtain of life falls, and in that moment, possessions will not line up beside us to comfort us. Our cars, our houses, our accounts will remain behind, cold and silent. What will remain are the people we loved, the memories of laughter shared, the bonds we cultivated. When asked what they regret most, people near the end of their lives rarely say, "I wish I had spent more hours at the office," or "I wish I had bought a larger house." Instead, they say, "I wish I had spent more time with the people I loved." This truth echoes across cultures, across generations, across every study of human fulfillment. To build a life of happiness, we must learn to reorder our priorities. We must dare to choose dinners with family over endless scrolling, conversations with friends over chasing another fleeting distraction, time with a child over another meaningless task. Even the smallest investments in connection, sharing a meal, walking together, calling to ask how someone is doing, become priceless threads in the fabric of life. These are the things that give meaning to our days and comfort to our nights. We are social beings, created not for isolation but for communion. To embrace this truth is to recognize that the richest life is not the one with the fullest bank account, but the one with the fullest heart. True wealth is measured in laughter shared, in tears comforted, in arms that open to embrace. When we finally understand this, we stop chasing what cannot satisfy and begin to invest in what never loses value: love, friendship, and connection. And when the end does come, it is not the possessions we will hold tightly to, but the hands of those we loved, the memories of moments we shared, the warmth of relationships that were, and always will be, the real wealth of life. Life does not always unfold in grand gestures or extraordinary events. More often, its beauty is hidden in the quiet and fleeting details that pass by unnoticed unless we learn to pay attention. A shared smile with a stranger, the warmth of morning tea between your hands, the sound of music that stirs something deep within you. These are the threads from which real happiness is woven. Yet so many of us overlook them, waiting instead for something monumental to arrive before we allow ourselves to feel alive. In doing so, we miss the very essence of life. Happiness is not only found in milestones, weddings, promotions, achievements, or great adventures. While those moments may sparkle, they are rare, and if we rely on them alone, joy will be scarce. The truth is that life is mostly ordinary. It is filled with routines, small tasks, and simple interactions. But within those ordinary spaces lies a quiet magic. To celebrate the small joys daily is to uncover that magic and realize that happiness is not hidden, but ever present, waiting for us to notice. I once met a woman who told me of a ritual she practiced. Every morning, before the world became noisy, she would sit outside and watch the sun rise for 5 minutes. That was all. She did not wait for vacations or holidays to feel joy. She began each day with this simple act of reverence. "It reminds me that I am alive," she said, "and that is enough." What she understood is that joy does not depend on external achievements. It is available in the simplest of moments, if only we pause long enough to receive it. Think of a child who delights in the smallest things: a butterfly fluttering past, the taste of a sweet, the puddle that reflects the sky. Their happiness is not postponed, nor does it demand grand occasions. It flows from their openness to wonder. Somewhere along the way, as adults, we lose this capacity. We become hardened by routine, weighed down by responsibility, blind to the little miracles that surround us. Celebrating small joys is a way of reclaiming that childlike wonder, of softening our hearts to the beauty already present. Modern life often convinces us that joy must be pursued, bought, or earned. We scroll endlessly, searching for stimulation, or chase bigger and bigger experiences to feel alive. Yet the deepest joy is not in what is new or grand, but in what is familiar and constant. The comfort of a friend's voice, the scent of rain on dry earth, the laughter shared at the dinner table. These are the moments that sustain us. They may not appear remarkable, but when remembered later, they are the ones that bring tears to our eyes. Celebrating small joys does not mean ignoring pain or pretending life is always easy. It means choosing to see that even in the midst of difficulty, there are still sparks of light. A kind gesture from a stranger during a hard day, the warmth of a blanket in the cold, or the taste of food after hunger. These small joys are not trivial. They are reminders that life, no matter how heavy, still offers reasons to keep going. Gratitude grows when we recognize these details, and happiness multiplies when we honor them. If you think of those who have lost much, you will see this truth more clearly. Someone recovering from illness may find joy in simply walking outside again. Someone grieving may treasure a photograph or memory that brings comfort. These are not extraordinary events, but to the one who notices them, they become sacred. Do we need to wait until loss or crisis teaches us this lesson, or can we begin now to celebrate what is already here? The practice is simple. Pause during the day and ask yourself, what small joy is present in this moment? Perhaps it is the way the light falls through a window, or the sound of a familiar song, or the fact that someone thought of you. If you train yourself to notice, you will find that joy is everywhere, hidden in plain sight. Over time, this awareness changes the way you live. Instead of rushing through the ordinary in search of the extraordinary, you realize the ordinary was extraordinary all along. In the end, when people look back on their lives, it is often not the grand achievements they remember with the most tenderness. It is the quiet evenings with loved ones, the laughter that came unexpectedly, the small rituals that gave rhythm to their days. These were the treasures, the small joys celebrated, or sometimes forgotten. And the truth is, we have the chance every single day to collect them. Life may never be perfect, but it can always be meaningful if we learn to honor its simple gifts. To celebrate small joys daily is to finally awaken to life as it is, not as we wish it to be. It is to step into the fullness of existence, where happiness is no longer postponed or conditional, but discovered in each fleeting moment. And when we learn this, we stop waiting for happiness to arrive and instead realize it was with us all along, gently asking to be noticed. To enjoy every minute of life is to honor the present, to practice gratitude, to stop postponing joy, to embrace imperfection, to treasure relationships, and to celebrate small joys. Happiness is not a destination. It is a choice, a perspective, a daily practice. The time to be happy is not tomorrow. It is not someday. It is now. So, I invite you to take a deep breath, look around you, and let this moment remind you, you are alive. And that in itself is reason enough to be happy.